All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us. Like Tuan said, my name is Dana Marable, and I'm joined by my colleague Connie Frick. And we are both local nursing counselors for Grand Canyon University, but we're local to Southern California, and so we work with the community colleges locally for our nursing students. So today we're going to just give you a brief overview of some of the different nursing opportunities that we have at Grand Canyon University, both local and on our campuses. So we're going to go over pathways. Two of those are our concurrent enrollment and then our accelerated BSN. And then a little bit more details as far as how you can get started with us with a transfer credit evaluation and so on. Okay. First up is our concurrent enrollment, and Connie, my colleague that is with us today, is our expert on concurrent enrollment. So I'll kind of pass the baton over to her to give you a brief intro to that.
Thank you, Dana. So I work with the local community colleges here, Saddleback, Santa Ana, Golden West, amongst down in San Diego, as well as into LA. We partner with the community colleges to offer the BSN coursework while you're still in your ADN program. This is offered for first through third semesters, and a traditional pathway for a first semester student would be 6 of their concurrent classes, leaving only 4 to 5 on the back end, and BSNs can be earned in as little as 20 to 30 weeks upon successful completion of the NCLEX and re-enrollment for those final classes. So it's a great option, cost savings, flexible, and it's partnered through the local community colleges and their ADN programs.
Yeah, so that's a great option for students that are looking to apply to the local ADN programs. And if you get in, that's an awesome thing to keep in mind. For students that are looking to possibly just go straight into a BSN program, or maybe you're applying to ADN programs and maybe you're not getting in the semester that you're looking at, the ABSN program is a great resource to have. The ABSN program is not a second degree program, so you do not have to have a previous bachelor's degree in order to start with us for accelerated BSN. And I will go more into detail about that program on a next slide. But some other nursing opportunities that we have at Grand Canyon, more on the tail end of things. So for students that maybe already have an RN or are shortly going to be achieving their RN through a program, we do have bridge programs. So RN to BSN, students are able to bridge and do online courses with us to achieve their BSN. Similarly, for students that already have a bachelor's degree, they can take bridge courses with us to achieve their MSN. So really 4 different pathways for students to move forward with their nursing journey with Grand Canyon.
So I'll go a little bit more into detail regarding the concurrent enrollment opportunity that we offer through community colleges and Grand Canyon University. Students can earn their BSN, or if they have a previous bachelor's degree, they can start a bridge to MSN. This allows you to achieve these in minimal time, and it helps excel in your potential nursing career, because the hospitals in this area, of course, are looking for BSN educated nurses, and it just gives you that competitive edge. The 3 things that I like is our program is flexible. It saves you money with the $250 reduced scholarship rate for all of our concurrent classes. There is a scholarship for that allows a reduced tuition cost. Shortly, it shortens the length of time to get your BSN. Like I had previously mentioned, as a first semester student, if you complete 6 of our 11 classes while you're concurrently enrolled, you only have a very limited amount on the back end, and you can achieve your BSN from 20 to 30 weeks after successful completion of the NCLEX. Our programs are online. You do your clinical portion, which is that final class. After you pass the NCLEX and complete your remaining courses, there is one final capstone class, and that is done locally. So you never have to go to Arizona. You're assigned a field experience counselor that will work with you with placement. Many times students are already working at hospitals and they work with their current employer to secure a preceptor. But we follow you through the entire program. I am with my students from enrollment when they're in their ADN program all the way to graduation. So we really want to support our students and give them the hand up to really excel in their nursing career and achieve these degrees in a very flexible manner. Our classes are asynchronous, so they take these classes during their break, so they don't compete with your ADN program, which is huge. So your summer classes and your winter classes are when you're taking the BSN coursework with GCU.
Awesome. So concurrent enrollment, again, that's one of the programs great for students that get into the ADN locally and want to stay local. Different program now, so kind of separate that in your mind. I'm going to talk a little bit about our Accelerated Bachelor of Science in Nursing, ABSN program. Again, students do not have to have a bachelor's degree for this program. It's not a second degree program, but it really builds on your existing education so that it transitions you into the nursing profession. It is accelerated in the sense that the core nursing program is 16 months, and that's a combination of online coursework with in-person aspect. So it's considered a hybrid program. So basically how that works is students would have basically lectures through our online platform asynchronously. So students really are able to learn at the pace that they are successful at in terms of the lecture, but then they will be in person for the on-site labs, the immersive simulations, and then also in person in the hospitals locally to the site for that in-person clinical experience. On the topic of sites, we have various ABSN sites on the West Coast. So right now, the sites that you're looking at that are open for enrollment, we have a few in Arizona, West Phoenix and Tucson are the two available Arizona sites. We also have a site in Las Vegas, and we also have a site in Salt Lake City, Utah. So I will say that a vast majority of these sites are full of California students. So although this is a program that for the 16 months students are looking at relocating for, you will feel right at home amongst the other California students. But also in order to support our students that, again, are relocating, our sites have roommate lists for students that are interested in getting connected with people in their cohort to possibly live with. And just support in that sense where, you know, you're not left on your own to figure everything out. Talking about the clinicals again, so whichever site you choose, whether that's West Phoenix, Salt Lake City, Las Vegas, the clinicals will be done local to those sites. So we're partnered with different hospitals and sites that are close to our ABSN sites. A perk of this program is we have multiple start dates per year. So we have 2 per semester. So 2 in the spring, 2 in the fall, 2 in the summer to start. So it's really gives students that flexibility of when they need to start in order to, you know, get started in a program. And on that note, I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of the first steps that usually we take with students for our ABSN program. As many of the nursing students are probably familiar with, many nursing programs have various requirements. So we want to make sure that we're preparing students to take the correct courses that they want to take locally or what their pathway is going to be looking like. So our free transfer credit evaluation is really our first step to see where students land and what their pathway is looking like. So basically how this works is students will send us their unofficial transcripts from any college credits that they have. We'll be able to evaluate those to see how it would transfer in for the gen eds and prereq requirements. And from there, we'd be able to recommend a pathway, what their timeline would look like, and things like that. Something that goes along with the transfer credit evaluation is we have various scholarships that align with students that are bringing in a certain number of credits. So obviously we want to make sure that students are getting very transparent information as far as finances go as well. So we also create a budget sheet with students that aligns with the credits that they need to take if they have any, and everything involving finances. This will also include giving them a personalized graduation plan, and so they have a date to hold on to of when they'll be able to, be taking the NCLEX and getting their RN, achieving their BSN, and then being able to go wherever they want to work as a nurse. So some key takeaways, just to summarize what Connie and I kind of touched on. Our concurrent enrollment for students that want to stay local and are admitted into one of the ADN programs that we're partnered with locally allows students to have some flexibility. They're able to start within their first, second, or third semester of the ADN program. And they're taking those courses online with GCU during their summer and winter breaks. For the ABSN program, again, it's accelerated. So students are achieving their BSN in 16 months, which is great. A lot of students that take advantage of this program, they're through and out and working in the field in a timeline that if they had waited to stay local, possibly they would still be waiting by that time. And the multiple start dates per year is really a great asset for students that are looking to start as soon as possible. And then again, lastly, we would love to start with that unofficial transcript evaluation, whether you're a student or whether you're a counselor that is working with students that are looking for options or just looking for pathways. That's our first step, really. I'm going to share this screen. So if you're, student or counselor or whoever, feel free to take a picture of this. This just has my contact information. Again, my name is Dana. I am a counselor that works with our ABSN program. So any students that are looking at that program, I would be happy to work with. I'll give it a few more seconds if you're taking a picture. And then this next slide is Connie. So if you're looking at getting connected for concurrent enrollment, if you're a counselor and you are working with students that are applying to many ADN programs, Connie is your expert for that.
There were a few questions in the chat. I'll go ahead and go through the ones for concurrent. Does financial aid cover the concurrent enrolled classes? So that's a great question. So financial aid is going to work with one school at a time. So your primary school would be considered your ADN program. There are some workarounds with that depending on the course credits that you're in your ADN program. You could reach out to the financial aid department through your community college and ask them if you've completed the most current FAFSA. Do you have any financial aid funds that are not being allocated towards your ADN program? If so, you could request a stipend, and that stipend could be used for the co-enrollment programs. With the reduced tuition rate, it is $250 per credit. And each one of our classes is 5 weeks long at $250 per credit. The books are on the online platform, so there is a $120 book fee. So each concurrent class is only $870, and you pay for one class at a time. So there's no down payment for a program. You pay as you go. There are a lot of opportunities for private loans, payment plans, prepayment plans. I like to go over each and every opportunity with each student just so that we can find out what is right for them.
I see a question for all nursing schools. Is there a centralized application service like AAMCS for MD and DO schools? I can speak to for Grand Canyon University, our application is completely free and we don't use anything like the Common App, so there's no essay attached to it. Once you get started with Connie or I, we actually are able to just work through the application with you and we'll send you the link for that. And that's kind of how we do it at GCU. But the nice thing is we have open enrollment, so there's no deadline to apply. But we do recommend, right, and no application fee. So we do recommend you get started with us for the transcript evaluation, and then through that, we can be advising you and sending you the link for the application. I see a message from Tuan. Let's hold off on all questions until the last 10 minutes. Okay, awesome. So if there's any more questions, we will circle back to that at the end after West Coast presents. But thank you guys for your questions. Continue to, be thinking and typing them, and we'll circle back to them at the end.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm not sure if you all can see my screen. Let's see here. All right. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, I want to introduce myself. My name is Edlyn Delano. I'm with West Coast University. For those of you familiar with West Coast University, we do offer nursing programs at the campuses, and also we have post-RN license programs online. I'm here to represent our online programs, but I do get interest, for our BSN program, which is on the ground, and also for our LBN to BSN programs also offered at the campuses. So today, I just wanted to just go quickly over West Coast University. We have been around a really long time, since 1909. Again, for those of you not familiar with West Coast University, we do have multiple campuses, locations in California, in Texas, and also in Florida. And we do offer the bachelor's, a master's, and also doctorate degree programs, both online and also at the campus level as well. So in terms of our accreditations, we are WSCA accredited. That's our institutional and our regional accreditation. For our nursing programs, we are CCNE accredited and also California BRN approved for our nurse practitioner programs. So why choose West Coast University? Although we are very separate from our campuses, we do offer a very dedicated online team of student service professionals. We do have our admissions team, we do have career services, financial aid, student success advisors, all that are going to be assigned to our students once they enroll into one of our programs. Our programs online, for those of you familiar with our BSN program at the campus level, those programs are actually 10 weeks long, but all of our online programs are 8 weeks long. So if you think about every other odd month of the year, we do have a new start. So again, 8 weeks, 8-week terms, and every other month is a new start. I'll give you an example. May 8th is going to be our next start, and then after that, it's going to be July, and so forth. So a total of probably about 6 starts, I would say, a year. Some of our programs maybe have fewer starts, and that's referring to the more upper level graduate programs like postmasters or DNP programs. We do offer part-time and full-time options for, because our programs are designed for working nurses and working professionals. We do offer part-time options and full-time. So, we can pretty much schedule very flexible scheduling for any of our students online. So it doesn't stop somebody from working a full-time job or multiple, jobs for that matter, because we have, our nurses particularly is a good example. They can work on crazy shifts, different hospitals. But a lot of them are still able to do our programs online because they're so flexible. They are asynchronous. And so that basically means that our online students are not required to log in certain times and days, to listen to lectures, or, required to post discussions at a certain day or time. Students are given 2 hard deadlines to submit their assignments a week, and that's Wednesday night and Sunday night. The rest is really up to the student. So there's a lot of flexibility in the program. As I mentioned earlier, we offer a lot of online student support, everything from career services, admissions, student services, financial aid. We do have military tuition rates also, which is separate from the regular tuition rate of our programs. So I encourage anyone who you know of, or any of you that are interested in any of our online programs, we do have separate tuition rates for any students that have any type of military affiliation or military background. And I mentioned earlier, we do have financial aid and different types of scholarships. So it's really worth looking into and inquiring about, what type of scholarships you could be eligible for. We can also enroll pre-NCLEX. So that basically means for anyone on an ADN track, and they're graduated, but they haven't quite completed their NCLEX or received their RN license. We do allow students up to 8 months from the time that they enroll in our program, particularly RN to BSN, RN to MSN, or either that or the MSN program. So those 3 programs we can enroll pre-NCLEX. We allow the students up to 8 months to complete the RN license. So anytime within that 8 months, they can enroll into the program if they are accepted. We do offer different scholarships, as I mentioned earlier. This is something going into, post-graduation, once the nurses, once the students start working in a hospital, as an RN or pending, NCLEX exam pass. We do offer different types of health service partner grants. So in other words, if a hospital that they're working in does fall under our health service partner list, and they're enrolled in that, or they're an employee of that hospital, they can receive a 10% tuition discount. So we do offer tuition savings to health service partner hospitals. So that's basically what that means. And if the student is working at a hospital and has 2 other colleagues, minimum of 3 cohort, to be eligible for an additional 5%. So what that means is if that one student or that one employee working at a particular hospital can bring in 2 other colleagues of theirs, 2 or more, it has to be minimum of 3 cohort, they can be eligible for an additional 5% on top of that health service partner tuition savings of 10%, so potentially up to 15%. Any of our West Coast grads are eligible for a 20% tuition discount on any of our online programs. That applies towards our American Career College graduates from the ADN program. So some people might not be familiar with our affiliation with American Career College. They're our sister school. They do offer the ADN program. And also for our BSN grads from any of the West Coast campuses, and they decide to go on to an online program with us, they're eligible for 20%. And there's other scholarship opportunities as well. And I encourage anybody to inquire once they, set up an appointment with an advisor, and they're really looking into the program and, want to find out what tuition savings or costs that, they can be eligible for. It's definitely worth looking into. Okay, so I'm going to just jump right into what we offer online. So generally speaking, what we offer in terms of nursing programs online is post-RN license. I did mention earlier that we can enroll pre-NCLEX. So again, that applies to the RN to BSN, RN to MSN, and MSN programs. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about our RN to BSN program. So the minimum requirement is that the student just complete an ADN. Again, we can enroll pre-NCLEX if they haven't completed their NCLEX yet or received their RN license. This program now is offered at 8 months. So before it was 12 months and 20 months. The student does have an option though. This 8 months is what we call an accelerated pace track. So we just updated this program and now we're offering this not too long ago. I would want to say maybe in the last few months, we're now offering it at 8 months. Students can, and that's actually contingent upon 90 maximum credits, that they can transfer in from their GE and RN license credits. So it's 30 credits total, but that, again, contingent upon the 90 maximum credits that they can bring in from their GE and RN license programs. We do also offer an RN to MSN pathway program while a student is enrolled in the RN to BSN program, which allows them to take certain number of units or credits that can be applied towards an MSN program. So that's what we call our RN to MSN pathway. Now, for anyone interested in RN to MSN program, of course, it's a different type of a program, and we're offering that at 28 months. Again, we do offer the part-time and full-time options. All of the coursework you see, that I mentioned here, it's all online. So every program that I'm mentioning here, coursework is online. Now, if someone's looking at maybe down the line, an MSN program, FNP program, a nurse practitioner program, postmaster's program, or even a DNP program, which is a doctor of nursing program, there are precepted hours that are required for that program, those programs, and that needs to be completed on site. Okay, but aside from that, all of the coursework is online. So as you can see, there's a lot of information to share. We do have each program with different timelines to complete because they all have different specialties and different tracks. So as you can notice here, we have family nurse practitioner, psychiatric mental health, and family nurse practitioner programs are the most highly set up programs that we offer. Aside from the BSN program at the campus level, these are the most popular programs that we offer online. So if anyone is on track to, go into a nurse practitioner program, we do offer 4 different nurse practitioner programs: adult gerontology acute care, we have adult gerontology primary care, the family nurse practitioner, and also psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner program. There's not a lot of schools right now that are currently offering psych NP, so it's, again, that's the reason why it's very highly sought out. But we do have a lot of students coming to us for the FNP and the psych NP programs. Again, so those are 2 of our most popular programs under RN to MSN and also the MSN programs. So under MSN, we offer the similar tracks as we offer the RN to MSN, similar timelines. Again, the FNP, Psych NP programs, 2 of the most popular programs. Currently, students are getting waitlisted because it's so highly impacted at the moment that I encourage anyone, or maybe someone you might know, a colleague of yours, or another, another student graduating from BSN program, we encourage them to apply sooner rather than later, or at least start the conversation with an admissions advisor, because if they have to be waitlisted, it could mean that they may have to wait 8 months to a year to get into that program. So from my understanding, this could have changed. The last time that I heard from our admissions team, I think the next enrollment time for FNP and Psych NP is going to be in January. So we're encouraging students, who are really seriously ready within the next year or so, about these programs to, again, start the conversation with admissions sooner rather than later. And then again, online, we offer non-nursing programs. A lot of people are not familiar with our non-nursing programs. We do have a BSBA program, BSHA, BSPH. We also offer master's programs in the same programs there. So as you can see, MBA, MHA, and MPH all have different timelines to complete. We do have free transcript reviews. So I do get asked questions about transferable credits. And that's a conversation that the prospective student should definitely have with one of our admissions advisors. I don't work in admissions. I just want to clarify my role in online, in our online division. I work in business development. So mainly what I do is I develop education partnerships with hospitals. So we have a lot of partnerships out there with hospitals, and I run into our students all the time. I run into a lot of students in different colleges as well there, and a lot of them looking into an RN to BSN program, an MSN program, and so forth. We do get students also that are completing pre-NCLEX programs, prerequisites at the community colleges. And for those types of students, I do encourage to try to do that. And if you're looking at a BSN program, again, we do offer that at the campus level. We have 2 campuses in Anaheim, 1 campus in Ontario, and 2 campuses in Los Angeles. And then outside of California, we have Texas, and we also have Florida. So again, anybody on that route of getting prereqs out of the way but are interested in a BSN program, we do offer the BSN at the campus levels, okay? And these are different programs that we offer at different campuses out there. And so if you're interested, please let me know. I can connect you to the right campus and the right admissions team. And then our admissions process is pretty straightforward. I'll help set up an appointment with an admissions advisor online. They're going to help you walk you through the application process, guide you through the financial aid process and connect you with the financial aid department. And then step 4 is going to be completing, confirming your academic admissibility, and that's by reviewing your transcripts. And then from there, you're going to complete your online student orientation, and then you start your process. That's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. My contact information is there if you want to schedule an appointment. That is my QR code. That's my email. That's actually my cell number, which is my work number. So you can always text me as well anytime. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to any questions if you guys have anything for me or for Grand Canyon.
Actually, to help facilitate the questions, actually, if you don't mind, let me do that, okay? Let me actually put myself on the spotlight also. Great. Since there are a number of questions. Looks like there's one question on the abbreviated, I'm assuming accelerated, it says abbreviated RN. Is it considered like an associate's degree? Aurora, can we ask you to clarify that question? Are you asking about the accelerated nursing program over at Grand Canyon, or are you talking about another program? Okay, let's see what else we have here. There's another student that asks about West Coast University. Does the RN to MSN 28-month include the RN to BSN 8-month, or would it be 36 months total?
So the RN to MSN program would, they would also be getting the BSN program. So you're like jump starting into the MSN program. For someone graduating with an ADN program and looking into a BSN program, that's what we offer online as well. And with that, they can do an RN to MSN pathway, which is taking, I believe it's about 12 credits while they're completing the RN to BSN, which would it would transfer into an MSN program. So if you do decide to go to your pathways to an MSN program, eventually after the RN to BSN, it would cut time and costs.
Let me actually take some of the easier questions first. It looks like there's a question on West Coast and Grand Canyon for your respective campuses. Do you require the TEAS exam for your nursing programs? Let's start
That's a
with
great
Grand
question.
Canyon. Oh, I'm sorry. Edwin, why don't you go? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so for our BSN program, I believe, I don't know if it's changed, but it's either one or the other. It's the TEAS or the HESI. So you might want to connect with the admissions team there at the campus. I can connect you if you want to leave information for me or scan my QR code. I can bring up my slide, but I can connect you to somebody at that campus. And it would probably be the Anaheim campus because we have Ontario, LA, and Anaheim. And they can go over the minimum requirements and the test requirements for the BSN. But I don't want to mislead you and give you information that's incorrect because I don't really represent the campus, but I can definitely connect you.
And for Grand Canyon, for the concurrent enrollment opportunity, you will have already taken the TEAS exam through your local community college. So we would utilize that TEAS exam.
Yeah, and then for Grand Canyon, for the ABSN program, which is not connected to any ADN, again, just to clarify for Connie, concurrent enrollment, we're assuming you have already been admitted to an ADN program, so you have already taken the TEAS to get in. But for the accelerated BSN, we take the HESI because our main campus is in Arizona, and the HESI is the accepted Arizona nursing test. But we only require students to take the English section and get a 75%, the math section 75%, and then the anatomy and physiology section 80%. If you're not familiar with HESI versus TEAS, you have to take the whole test, every single section every time. The HESI, you can pick and choose which sections you need to take. So we use the HESI for the accelerated BSN.
There's the next question do both universities have direct BSN programs? So it's more so for the traditional community college student coming to us here. Does, for the most part, their prerequisites, their G classes and the required courses for nursing school, can students then apply to your nursing programs, and about how competitive is it? Let's start with Grand Canyon.
So as far as our direct BSN programs go, what we have available for transfer students is the accelerated BSN program. We do have a traditional on-ground nursing program, but we actually don't allow students to transfer in because that's already a competitive program within our students that are doing prerequisites on our main campus in Phoenix, Arizona. So any transfer student that's looking in BSN, the program that they would be, the pathway that they would be looking at is our accelerated BSN. As far as competitive, the nature of how competitive it is, right now, and I will say right now, the ABSN sites are not yet impacted. So basically, as long as the students meet the requirements as far as the HESI, the having the prereqs done, having the GPA that's required, students are just looking at picking a site and availability as far as what semester they want to start.
Thank you for that. And it looks like there's a number of questions for West Coast, specifically regarding, let's see here. Let's look at the West Coast. I heard that West Coast no longer accepts microbiology, anatomy, physiology for transfer credit for the BSN RN. Can you confirm if that is correct or not?
That it would be a question for our admissions team for the BSN program. Again, online we don't offer BSN, and that's it would be a question for our admissions team for the campus, which would be in Anaheim. I can connect you again to an admissions advisor from that campus, but I wouldn't be the right person to answer that question. What requirements for BSN, in other words?
Okay, so it also seems like there's also another question from one of our science instructors, Diana Hobart. Okay, so it sounds like that 1, 2 would probably go through your admissions folks for your BSN program.
Yeah. Someone did have a question also from American Career College, mentioning that they're not regionally accredited. So online, West Coast University, and at the campus levels, we are WASC accredited. So again, American Career College is an affiliation of ours, but we don't share the same accreditations. I hope that answers that question.
It looks like we are pretty much close to time. If there are any final questions, or if there's a question that we did not answer that you're dying to ask, please put it into the chat right now or turn off your microphone and ask that question. Okay, so I'll give everyone about another 30 seconds. If not, we will be wrapping this up.
I did just want to clarify, I think Aurora asked the abbreviation RN. I think I understand what she's asking as far as RN just stands for registered nurse, and you become an RN when you pass the NCLEX. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you have an associate's degree, but associate's degrees are pre-licensure, and at the end of it, you take the NCLEX. If you pass, you become an RN. So it's not necessarily an associate's, but if you have associates.
Correct. Dana, on that, in order to sit for the NCLEX, you have to have an associate's degree in nursing from a BRN accepted college here in.
Yeah, so hopefully that answers that question.
There's one about textbooks. Can they be available separately? I don't know who that's referring to.
As far as GCU,
I'm sorry, that was me. This is Diana.
Hi, Diana.
And you talked about how the textbook cost is 120, and so somehow like each course was 800 something. And I was curious, can the kids, they can access textbooks in different ways? Do they have to buy the textbook through your system?
They're in the online platform. There's the texts that are assigned to each one of our classes, and it's also learning material. So it's not all text. The text can be downloaded, but the 120 material fee on each class for concurrent enrollment is a set cost.
And actually, my apologies. It looks like we do have a little bit more time. I thought the session ended at 1:40, but it looks like it's 1:50. So we could probably entertain a few more questions. William, it looks like you have your hand up. William?
Yeah, I had a question about the West Coast University online nursing. So what type of, first thing is, what type of degree are we getting with the online? And also, how do we get in-person experience? Do you have to have like some prior degree or prior in-person experience before you, because nursing you can't do online, so I know.
Yeah, that's a great question, William. So if we're referring to like the RN to BSN, RN to MSN programs, you do have to have a minimum of an ADN degree, associate degree in nursing, which means that you have to be an RN license. But we can enroll pre-NCLEX. So that means if a new grad just finishing up their ADN program and wants to enroll in maybe our RN to BSN or RN to MSN program, they haven't passed their NCLEX yet, we give them up to 8 months to complete that RN license. But they can still, if they're qualified and they get accepted, they can still enroll pre-NCLEX, but we give them 8 months to complete that. But they don't need to have any on-site experience. In fact, the programs that do require the 1 year direct patient care experience is in our MSN program for a nurse practitioner program. So any of these other programs, they don't require like 1 year of direct patient care or experience in a hospital. So they can go in as a new grad from an ADN program. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you very much.
Okay, perfect. You're welcome.
There's a new question here. Maybe this was mentioned before, but forgive me if I missed this. What is the competitive GPA for your BSN program? So basically, I know that for rated a bachelor's nursing program and Grand Canyon, just basically your direct BSN program. So Grand Canyon, Dana, would you be able to answer that?
Yes. So as far as admittance into the concurrent enrollment program, again, as long as you're admitted into the ADN, you'll be eligible for the concurrent enrollment. For the accelerated BSN program, I'm also going to put this in the chat, but for the ABSN program, the GPA for your prerequisites is a 3.25. This is not including anatomy and physiology 1. We don't include that within the GPA for the 3.25 prereqs. But then it's a 3.0 for the last 60 credits. So that's including more of the gen eds that you've taken. So 3.25 sciences, 3.0 last 60 credits.
Edlin?
I'm sorry, the question was that for a GPA requirement for a BSN program or
Yes.
RN to BSN?
Just
I'm not.
Oh yeah, you're
I'd
right.
have to connect them. Yeah,
Oh,
I'd
my
have to connect
apologies
them
for
to admissions. Yeah, online. We do have separate GPA requirements for the online programs. Like for RN to BSN, minimum GPA requirement would be like a 2.5 plus, and then we also offer GPA probational GPA as well. So anything below a 2.25 or something, or 2.25. So.
And let me actually address the question for Manuel about a competitive GPA for an ADN program, okay, for specifically community colleges. It really all varies by the community college and also the various universities. You really have to touch base directly with each school because each school has, sometimes purely GPA and courses. It could be a point system. And there's really no way to give you a blanket number or even a range within number because sometimes I know that for the community colleges, they have both a GPA point system, okay, that based on partially on GPA. They also have some random selection where they may even hold some spots for students as long as they meet the minimum and fulfill all the requirements, but they may also be able to get into that program. So it's really best to connect if you at your campus there is a nursing counselor that would be the best person to start with, then connect with each and every single nursing program that you're interested in, because every school has its own nuances and details, and also things change. What it was about 2-3 years ago, and what's posted, on some older information may not be what the new information is. So that's why we highly recommend for you to get the information directly from the source. Okay, and from your nursing counselor at your campus. Let us, it looks like we are pretty much out of time. Okay, but I want to say thank you so much for our 3 panelists today for coming and really sharing details about your programs. I myself. I'm fairly knowledgeable and a lot of transfer, but when it comes to nursing, I sometimes have to scratch my, I don't know that. Let me check with you. I'm very fortunate that I do have a contact at another school who's a nursing counselor that sometimes I inquire in detail. Okay, but half the time her answer to me is Juan, I can't answer that. We should not be speaking for the universities. Let the student and show the students how to connect with the various representatives at these campuses if they want the correct and detailed information. But beyond that, for our attendees, thank you so much for joining us for this session. Please know again that this session is being recorded.